Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Now, after Caesar's invasion of 54 BC, the Romans didn't return to Britain for nearly 100 years. But this gap is rarely talked about, so today I thought I would explore the gap between Caesar and Claudius. Now, I should stress that between 54 BC and 43 AD, the Romans and the Britons did an awful lot of trading with each other in goods such as wine, pottery, precious metals and slaves. So although Caesar didn't manage to conquer the island, the trade links between the two seem to have been enhanced. Now, although Caesar's invasions of Britain didn't really achieve very much, he did manage to get some tribute from defeated tribes, but it's very unclear whether this arrangement lasted very long, if indeed it started at all. And by the time Caesar was back in Gaul, he was too busy fighting a very bloody civil war with Pompey the Great amongst others to care, and by 44 BC he'd given up caring entirely, because he was dead. After the assassination of Julius Caesar, the Romans were so busy fighting each other in one civil war or another that it wasn't until the rise of Emperor Augustus that the idea of conquering Britain came up again. He considered conquering Britain in 34, 27 and 26 BC, but each time he seems to have given up on the idea, instead focusing on securing and expanding the Roman borders elsewhere. Cassius Dio does tell us about a dialogue between Augustus and the Britons, but he is somewhat vague as to the details. He tells us that Augustus was anxious for war in 26 BC because the Britons had failed to come to terms. Now, this implies that terms were made to the Britons previously, and that the Britons had failed to meet the demands, perhaps demands for the tribute that Caesar had arranged previously, but that is just speculation. Augustus did, however, receive a visit from two British tribal leaders, one called Cunobelin, the leader of the Trinovantes, and another whose name is lost to time, surviving only as Tin on the Res Gestae, which is a list of Augustus's achievements. Now, he may have been called Tin Camarus, as coins in the area of the Atrebates have been found that have that name, but that is just speculation. And these two tribal chiefs arrived to ask for help against their enemies in Britain, but Augustus never rose to the bait. However, many decades later, another Roman emperor, Caligula, turned his attention to Britain. In 40 AD, he assembled a massive force with the intention of invading Britain, after a man called Adminius arrived at his court asking for help after he had been exiled from his kingdom in Britain. And what follows is one of the strangest episodes in Roman military history. According to the historian Suetonius, instead of invading Britain, Caligula ordered his soldiers to pick up seashells off the seashore as spoils of war. Now, we don't know whether this was because he was insane or whether it was some sort of prank or a military drill, but either way, it's a little bit bizarre. And in the end, the most impactful thing of this failed invasion of Britain was the supposed building of a lighthouse somewhere along the North Gaulish coast. In 41 AD, however, something happened in Britain that sealed the fate for the tribes living there. Cunobelin, the king of the Catevelauni, died, and he left his kingdom to his two sons, Caratacus and Togodumnus, who set about expanding their sphere of influence by attacking their neighbours, causing a man called Pericus to come to the court of Emperor Claudius seeking help, giving Claudius exactly the reason he needed to start a full-scale invasion of the island. But why did Claudius want to invade Britain? Well, unlike his predecessors, Claudius was not seen as a natural leader. Due to his lameness and his speech impediment, he was seen as an unimportant member of the Julio-Claudians. But this all changed when Caligula was assassinated in 41 AD, and the Imperial Guard found Claudius hiding behind a curtain, and in that moment they proclaimed him emperor. Having been forced into the imperial purple, Claudius needed to find a way to secure his position and show that he was a strong and capable ruler. So an invasion of Britain was a good way to do this. So in 43 AD he ordered the full-scale invasion of the island, bringing relations between Rome and the tribes of Britain to a climactic turning point. So there you have it. For nearly 100 years, Britain remained on the fringes of the Roman Empire, but the legacy of Caesar's invasions, Augustus's diplomacy, and Caligula's bizarre invasion attempt all helped to shape the idea of what Britain was in the minds of the Romans. And in 43 AD, that all changed forever, thanks to Claudius. But thank you very much for watching. Please remember to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll join you on the next one. Ciao for now.